See, I've been practicing that. I've gotten better at it. A couple of weeks ago, I did that, and I damn near thought I was going to die because of how my throat turned itself inside out when I was doing the guttural little growl there. And now I've practiced. I've gotten a little better. And I'll say this too, my vocal cords have gotten a little bit more exercise here recently. We've been doing some voiceover work for a couple of different things for NAWA Championship Wrestling, a couple of different commercial spots here and there. And it's gotten a little better. My voice feels good right now. I was able to do that just there within the past couple of seconds. And I'm feeling good now that we've gotten the intro in there and it sounds like I have some kind of metal vocalist ability, when in reality, I couldn't carry a tune if you gave me a bucket. How you doing, folks? Welcome. Come on in. Turn it up. It's the Weekly Trim with yours beardly, the one and only Redbeard. Or at least the only guy who calls himself Redbeard in the next 10 square miles or so. How you doing, folks? Good to rejoining you here again for another episode of the Weekly Trim here on the Rasslin with Redbeard YouTube channel. Feeling good here today. I already had my workout in. Yeah, it's one of the things I've been trying to do here better. The fact that we have a Planet Fitness that's nearby, and just the desire to do a little better in terms of trying to improve my health and whatnot. I'll say that getting a workout in really does improve things in terms of your mental attitude, your lookout, or your outlook, I should say, for the day, and just your state of mind. So they're not kidding around when they say things about this will help you, this will make you feel better, this will improve not only your well-being physically but also your well-being mentally. So it's good to get in the gym there. It's an enjoyable thing, and this is a great facility we have here. I never had been in a Planet Fitness before now. I used to be a member of our local YMCA years ago, but joined Planet Fitness because it was a little more economical, but also because I had heard good things about the facility, stuff they offer. Have not been at all disappointed in the decision. It's been a great decision. It's been a real pleasurable experience because they have, of course, tons of equipment that you can use, but also with the black card that I get, which is a little more expensive than the normal rate per month that members can pay. You get the relaxation zone there where you get access to the massage chairs. Oh, the hydro massage chair. Oh, dear God. You could put me in this thing and just leave me to die, because it is an amazing piece of equipment when you're just needing some relaxation and some little TLC there at the end of your workout. It's just a chair that you sit in. It's like a recliner, and the thing shoots you with high pressure warm water. It couldn't be more relaxing if you were sitting there sipping a nice glass of scotch with a cigar. If they would let you do that, oh wow, I'd probably never leave. But they of course won't let you do that because people like me would never leave. It just it is what it is. but that's not a plug for Planet Fitness. That's just me talking about my personal experience and the fact that it's a great thing. I'm very impressed with it. Very happy with the direction things are going there. We've been making some diet changes around the house there. One thing I will say that I won't call this an indulgence, but because it's not something that I'm going to, I don't go to this restaurant and eat, like, for example, 10 pounds of, I don't know, waffles and syrup, for example. When I got done with my workout this morning, this is a Saturday morning, I went to Shoney's, to the buffet there at Shoney's. and just enjoyed a breakfast meal. People are going to say, well, what the hell are you doing at Shoney's? It's nothing but, it's terrible food. Well, it's actually not. Because in my case, we're trying to do keto and get up with the idea that your body can either burn one of two things, fat or sugar. Well, guess what? When you go to a place like Shoney's, they have lots of selections on their bar there. And in my case, I can get a plate full of scrambled eggs, sausage, bacon, other proteins, that aren't breaded or whatnot. It's just solid meat and, good for you protein. And it's, kind of an ideal thing. Now it's $12. I will say that it's not the cheapest meal in the world, because what I do is I get the buffet there with coffee and water. It's $12. It's not the cheapest thing in the world, but for the fact that I can go in there and get a meal that's really going to be that, really and truly, I probably won't eat much the rest of the day today. I'll probably have something around supper time. Maybe my wife and I'll go out here this evening. But again, it's not going to be a situation where I'm eating 3 huge meals a day. This was a big dose of protein here. Because like I mentioned, it's eggs, it's sausage, it's bacon. It's not like fried chicken and whatnot. This is, I'm not out, don't go for the pancakes and whatnot either, because that's the big temptation. Because of course they have the big giant vat of pancakes, flanked by the other giant big vat of French toast, flanked by the even more giant vat of pancake syrup. And you gotta avoid that. You gotta avoid that at all costs. Just, get the protein in there, get the meat and whatnot, and just enjoy that part of it. And again, with the coffee and water, you're not getting any extraneous calories there. Because I drink black coffee. Water, of course, there's nothing to it other than just water. So I think it's a pretty good decision overall. Could it be something better? Sure, probably, in terms of, be eating egg whites and turkey or whatever. But I just think that this is a better option in terms of delivering those fats that you actually can work off of and need in, being involved with this keto type lifestyle. So it is what it is as far as that's concerned. One thing interesting about going to the buffet there, and I think this is, just part of their policy, how they train their waitresses. I sat down there at the table this morning and had my first plate of food, and really just had gotten my beverage there within the past couple of moments before this happened, and the waitress comes by and sets down my bill and says, "No rush. No rush." I had just sat down with my first plate of food. I had barely even had a chance to look at my coffee yet, and she's putting down the check as though I'm going to be leaving here soon. Okay, let's go ahead and say that you're not going to dictate my buffet experience here, ma'am. It's kind of off-putting to see somebody do that, because it's like, all right, we need to get you in here and out of here as quickly as possible. And like I said, I had just sat down. So it's kind of a buffet Nazi type thing, where don't come in here and think you're going to dictate my buffet experience. I just sat down. I want to sit here and I want to enjoy my coffee. I just got done with a workout. I might want to sit here and relax for a little bit. It's not as though you don't have 40 tables in here that are available at this point in time. So that was a little off-putting there. Still tipped her okay, even though she let the water cup run dry there a couple times. But it is what it is. She had other tables to look after there as well. But sometimes they get some waitresses in there that aren't all that high caliber. But whatever. Still, the food's good, and it's really the combination of things we've been talking about here so far. It's part of, I think, why I'm looking forward more to the next couple of months here than I have in a while, because I feel like I'm on a good track. I feel like I'm gaining some momentum here in terms of what we're doing, and also looking forward to this month because it's my birthday month. I will be 39 years old. 39 years old. Yeah, I got one more before I hit 40, for God's sakes. There was a point in my life where I thought I was going to be shocked to make 40. Not that I was ever, in bad shape as far as, health-wise or anything along those lines. I said to myself, you know what, you're not going to make 40. And that's kind of a depressing thing to say, but it was the honest to God's truth. Where, I've said before in some of these episodes where I've really gotten personal with you guys, where I've said, I never saw myself getting married, never saw myself having children or settling down into the American dream of having a home and the whole 9 yards there. But it's all come to pass, and hopefully, knock on wood, I'll make it to 40. Hopefully, I'll make it to 50. Hopefully, I'll make it to 80. I'm not looking forward to taking a dirt nap anytime soon here, obviously, because I got a lot going on. Got a lot of things that I'm enjoying, a lot of things that I'm hoping to continue to see and to do and to enjoy. Um, but like I was mentioning here a couple of moments ago, looking forward to this month. It's birthday month here. I have no idea what it might entail as far as birthday number 39. I don't know what the occasion calls for there. Everybody always has these kind of gifts in mind for certain occasions when it comes to anniversaries or whatnot. The silver anniversary or the diamond anniversary or whatever the hell they come up with for the different connotations of the year that corresponds to your anniversary. I don't know what that translates out to in terms of birthdays. But I'm hoping maybe it translates into a plane ticket to Iowa because next month I'm planning on going to Iowa, to Des Moines, Iowa, for a Slipknot concert at the the Iowa State Fair that's going to be happening there. And I know this is very late in the day to be making travel arrangements, but it is what it is. I've just kind of put it off because I really didn't see the demand being there for travel to Des Moines from our part of the world. So looking forward to making some travel arrangements there to get a few things hammered out as far as that trip is concerned, and to be able to go up there and see a very unique experience in seeing Slipknot in their home state. They've never played the Iowa State Fair to my knowledge. I think this was part of a big promotional um, or excuse me, I think this was a big part of the promotion that went into the initial couple of dates that they were putting out there as far as their North American tour. And when I heard this thing pop up, I told my wife and some of my friends, you know, I'll never have probably another reason to go to Iowa in my entire life. So what the hell? Let's just go to Iowa. Let's go see Slipknot. Let's take a couple of days and just have an adventure in terms of traveling somewhere we've never been before and enjoy ourselves. So that's the plan there. Got a couple of other trips lined up in August as well in terms of some actually a conference I'm going to be headed to down in Orlando, Florida, for some training and some good stuff down there. So just a lot of cool stuff happening right now. A lot of cool things to look forward to. So I hope this bit of positivity that we've brought you in talking about my life and what's going on right now can in some way empower you and to encourage you to look on whatever the better parts of your life might be out there as well. I know we always seem to hear so much about people dealing with depression and various things that drag you down and whatnot. And I know those are personal demons that everybody has and everybody has to deal with. But if maybe talking about some of the things that I've been through and some of the things that I have coming up that I'm looking forward to can in some way inspire someone else, that I hope it can. I hope that if you're listening to this, you're having a cool day and that you're enjoying yourself and you got some cool weekend plans lined up, because Lord knows we do here. And we're going to talk about that coming up in the next segment. As we mentioned, I think I mentioned this anyway. This is the July 7th 2019 edition of the program, and we got some interesting things to talk about here in our next segment, because it corresponds with an event that's happening on the day that this episode will be released. Of course, we record this a day or two in advance so we can get our editing done and whatnot, but got a little interesting event to talk about here in our next segment. So we'll go and take a break, and we will get back here in a moment with some talk about a legend. Stay tuned, folks. Be back in a few. Welcome back, folks. Thank you for continuing to join me here on the Rasslin with Redbeard channel here on YouTube with the Weekly Trim. Oh man, I tell you what, I haven't actually trimmed it this week. Probably should, but I trimmed it last week. Trimmed the beard last week. Gave it a good little once over because I also cut my hair. And sometimes you need a weekly trim. Sometimes you don't need a weekly trim, which I guess is also maybe our attitude towards the recording schedule that we have with this program. Because Lord knows, even though we call it the weekly trim, it is not a weekly program. And if you hear some creaking in the background, it's the chair I'm sitting in. Yeah, it's that little annoying creaking sound. It's just an old office chair that I have that is very comfortable, but it could definitely use some lubrication. So it is what it is. Folks, right now I want to talk about a very cool program. It's coming up today by our broadcast schedule on July 7th, 2019. We're talking about Premier Wrestling Experience and their Legend event that's going to be happening in Charlotte, North Carolina at the Grady Cole Center. They're calling it the Legend, or excuse me, they're calling it Legend by virtue of the fact that they have scheduled to appear Japanese wrestling sensation and true legend of the pro wrestling sport of, I'd say, of any era. You could look at this guy as being a true just hero to several generations of wrestler out there. But we're talking about none other than Jushin Thunder Liger. A man who has been all over the world, done everything imaginable in terms of working for every promotion imaginable. And he's on his retirement tour. He is on his way to calling it a day as far as his in-ring competitive or as far as his in-ring competition days are concerned. And lo and behold, he is making a final, or what is being purported to be a final stop through the Carolinas, and it happens to be set to happen inside of a PWX ring right there at the Grady Cole Center, which, of course, if you know your history, is a building that is very well known for having hosted wrestling in the past. It was a host to gosh knows how many Jim Crockett events back in the day, and continued to have a presence really all the way up till now, because there have been other promotions here recently that have had shows there. Of course, here a while back, PWX was involved with the promotion and production of a New Japan Pro Wrestling event that took place in that building, and it's just it's a great venue that. There's a couple of buildings that still have lineage to Jim Crockett that are still standing. You immediately want to call to mind the Spartanburg Memorial Auditorium, because if you've never heard this before and you're a wrestling fan, you should have maybe I'd say heard this at some point in time. But there's still a Jim Crockett ring in that building. It's in pieces, it's disassembled, but it's there. And you have that building which is in no danger of being dismantled, of being torn down. But you've had a couple of others, like County Hall down in Charleston, unfortunately was torn down here a while back. That was a great building that hosted wrestling for years. In Columbia, you have Township Auditorium, which, again, it's in no danger of being torn down, but it does not host wrestling very frequently anymore. Then in North Carolina, you've had a number of different venues up there that have almost fallen by the wayside and been near close to the chopping block. Grady Cole was very close to being demolished here not too long ago, but it's been saved. It's still a very useful venue, still has legs, still has life to it, so I'm glad that they've decided to hold on to that venue and to allow it to continue to flourish and host events like this, because it's a great example of what a venue can be if it's allowed to be what it can be. And in this example, we're going to see, in my opinion, a pretty awesome show. I will say, I really don't think that there are many promotions along the lines of PWX that can have an event and it not draw some type of controversy. Because initially, whenever this show was announced and they announced the ticket prices, the thought was, my God, that's way too high. And really and truly, you're talking about some fairly high prices. But they were set at an original price point that included a meet and greet package and also your ticket. So there was, a reason for them to have been as high as they looked to be. The management, I believe, had to come along and make, some explanations and sort of offered a tiered ticketing package to where if you wanted to get the meet and greet, you could, or you could just buy the ticket, whatever you wanted to do there. So they opened it up and really catered to the fan as far as that's concerned. Is the price point for some of these tickets too high? That's really in the eye of the beholder as far as that's concerned. Because with a show like this, with a person like Liger involved, it really could go a number of different ways in terms of what your take on that is. Because with this show, the whole thing really, it's being billed as a legend because of Jushin Liger being involved, but also a number of other New Japan stars being involved there as well. But as far as the ticket prices are concerned, they had, like we mentioned, a tiered approach to this thing, and the prices varied from $20 all the way up to $115. Now that the 115, I will say, did include the meet and greet package in there. Like for example, if you wanted, like say a seat that's in the VIP area, which is the first couple of rows on the actual floor of this venue, they were going to be between 40 and $70 as far as the ticket itself is concerned, and then upwards from there they were going to run you into the hundreds of dollars, or into the $100 range, I should say, if you popped for the meet and greet in the combined ticket there. Is that too much? It's one of those things where the economy dictates your decision. If you are a person who is a diehard in terms of wanting to be a VIP at an event like this, then more power to you. It might be worth your money. To me, no, it was not worth that price point. And I am a big fan of Jushin Thunder Liger. However, I am not a autograph hound. I'm not someone who goes around to conventions and whatnot trying to meet legends and what have you. That's just never something that's been appealed to me, because it's not something that causes anxiety for me, but I've never been a person who said, okay, I want to go meet so and so because of them being there or what have you. I have always said to myself, if it was a kind of an organic thing where I happen to meet somebody, but at the same time, I've never been one to pay money to go meet someone. I've done it a couple of times, but I've never been really drawn to it. So this was no different here. I'm definitely going to be at the show. I have already gotten my tickets, of course. This is, as we mentioned, the day of the show here. Looking forward to the experience. Looking forward to seeing this entire card, because it's not just the match with Liger there. This thing has a really tremendous card here, made up of a lot of different combinations of talent in terms of the people that are going to be on here. Because we're talking, of course, about the match with Liger, but in addition to that, they've got, I think, 7 other matches scheduled to be on this card. Now, the match with Liger is a 6-man tag. And in the 6-man tag, you're going to have Jushin Liger tagging with Ethan Case and the Southern Savior John Schuyler to take on the fully reformed version of the Revolt, which is Jake Manning, Zane Riley, and Caleb Conley. And you don't see those 3 guys tagging together or as a group really much anymore, because Jake, he's gotten involved in God knows how many other projects. Zane and Caleb, they took themselves from being kind of that goofy quasi-comedy stable here a couple of years ago to where they're now taking themselves very seriously. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out. This is another piece of controversy here in terms of why was Liger put into a 6-man tag as opposed to a traditional one-on-one match. That, can go different ways in terms of how you look at it. To me, I think this gives those guys who have been really PWX mainstays for years an opportunity to engage in a match with a guy who, as the name indicates, is a true legend, and who is only going to be around once in terms of this thing. So great for them to be included in a match of that scenario. Would it have been cool to see, one-on-one contest? Sure. Who would it have been against? That's anybody's guess. I will say this, given the fact that he's on the card, it would have been interesting to see a confrontation between these two. But a lot of people look back to the fact that one of Jushin Liger's matches in America that was very well known and very appreciated was a match he had with Brian Pillman, Flying Brian, for the World Championship Wrestling Light Heavyweight title, which was their kind of a junior or a cruiserweight title back in the day. Um, in contrast to that, you had this opportunity on this show for Liger to, in some way, shape, or form, encounter Brian Pillman's son, Brian Pillman Jr., who is now wrestling and coming up doing phenomenal things and developing himself. So it would have been amazing to see some type of interaction there between those two, given the fact that Liger and his career has been around long enough to have wrestled a father and potentially now a son. That's crazy in my mind to think of, the the implications there from just a unique standpoint of what it could have been there. So we'll have to see if anything actually comes up from that, if they have an opportunity to involve themselves with one another. But it could be interesting there. Moving from there, in terms of the rest of the card, we have a PWX World Heavyweight Championship match between Jason Cade and current PWX champion Slim J. Kind of interested to see where this goes. If they put the title on Jason Cade at some point in time, I would not be surprised. This could be the moment, because the whole escalation of the syndicate, which Jason Cade is now the member of, or excuse me, now the leader of, with the sudden retirement of Elijah Evans IV here within the past month, it'd be very interesting to see what's going on there in terms of the inclusion of him potentially being the new PWX World Champion if he can defeat Slim J. So we'll see what goes on there. The match, as we mentioned here a moment ago, Brian Pillman Jr. is on this card. The match that he's going to be involved with is a four-way number one contender match, and he's going to be facing off against Mason Miles, Darius Lockhart, and Sir Rios Badu. Sir Rios Badu was formerly Jay Rios, who was, in various different tag teams. He's been known by a couple of different names here, but this is a very interesting combination of talent. Mason Miles is the guy in this mix that is pretty much the dark horse, because he's he's a member of the tag team Filth, and him being included here, kind of, I won't say it's odd, but it's definitely to a point where you have to make notice of the fact that he's there, because he's not someone that everyone would look at, I think, when it comes to being a number one contender for the top title in PWX. So we'll have to see what goes on with him being involved there. Darius Lockhart, he's kind of a shoe-in for a match of this nature. So Rios Badu and Pillman Jr., I don't think they'll wind up being the eventual winner in this match, but you never know. With the way things are in wrestling, anybody can do anything. So we'll have to see. But my money for that one there is on, I'd say, either Lockhart or Badu, but one or the other there. So we'll see how it goes in that matchup. To look at the rest of the card here, they have what they're calling the Road to Opportunity Invitational. Not real sure what is going to be involved with this match. I don't know if it's going to be like a gauntlet style match or what this is going to be. It's something. But apparently the winner of, let's see, what's the rules? They've got it on the website here. PWX officials have added a Road to Opportunity open invitational to grant the winner entry into the Opportunity Knox ladder match on the August 24th event at Land of Opportunity. So this is evidently a sort of an up-and-coming type match where I'd imagine you'll have somebody from maybe the Pure division with PWX to come up and be involved in this thing and to get a shot at competing for that Opportunity Knox contract that they give away as part of that ladder match there. And looking at the rest of the card, we've got a women's match where Lindsay Snow and Savannah Evans will be facing off. Lindsay Snow, she's someone I've never seen before live in competition, but she's gotten a lot of attention here recently. Very unique presentation with this young woman. We'll see if she can hold up against Savannah Evans, because Savannah, she's kind of the default when it comes to appreciable female talents in this area. So that could be a very interesting contest there in seeing whether we maybe have a new victor in the whole thing. As far as maybe the lead for women's Carolina's Professional Wrestling Award category there, maybe. Yeah, we'll see. The match that I really think could be the show stealer on this card is the one that they've got set up for the PWX ITV Championship, where Billy Brash will be challenging Saeed Al Sabah. These two are as innovative as it comes in terms of their presentation. Saeed, if you've never seen him live, it takes a moment to understand what he's doing in the ring in terms of just really catching what he's doing. Because when I say that, he's, as I described before, he's unlike anyone else you'll ever see. He's a combination of high flyer, lucha style, hard hitting. It's all this stuff that he manages to meld into his own unique presentation. Billy Brash is the same way in terms of a guy who has come from being firefighter Billy Brash to built to self-destruct Billy Brash. It's an amazing evolution by both of these men, and I think they're going to have a match that really could steal the show as part of this legend card here. As I mentioned here before, there's a couple of other New Japan Pro Wrestling talents that are on this card, and Rocky Romero is one of them. He's going to be facing off against Harlem Bravado, of course, unsigned hype Harlem Bravado or Harlem Globetrotter Bravado, whatever you want to call him. Harlem's one of my favorite guys around the area right now. He's tremendously talented, and I think before long you're going to see him wind up getting signed somewhere to a full-time deal. He has to. He's got the size. He's got the ability. It really has to be picked up somewhere. Rocky Romero, he's one of those guys who is kind of, he's become so well known for his involvement with New Japan and being embedded with them that seeing him in this environment is a pretty big deal because of his influence that he has with New Japan and with different things around the world. So these two will definitely have a tremendous matchup there. The other match that involves some New Japan Pro Wrestling talent is a tag team match where Roppongi 3K, who are the current IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions. I probably butchered that title, but I know that they're Junior Tag Team Champions of some nature there, against Tracer X and Drew Adler. Now, those two there are a very interesting combination as far as the tag team is concerned. I like the combination because they have had tremendous matches against one another, and now they're being paired up as a tag team. So that'll be a great thing to see unfold. I think that's the majority of the card. I think that's probably all of the card, matter of fact, because there are 8 matches that I'm aware of involved in this thing. And it's gonna be a long one. It's gonna be a marathon of a show, I think, but it's gonna be probably something that lends credence to the idea of what you're paying for with your money there and what you're getting in return. One other thing that I'll say about this, the whole thing in, the controversy over the ticket prices and various things here, I want to say what's in a name when it comes to wrestling. You have all these promotions who call themselves, action-packed wrestling or old school championship wrestling or whatever in there. Do they live up to the name? And Premier Wrestling Experience, they are trying to live up to that name with what they put forward. And I know that some, you can take it one way or the other, in terms of what they're doing and is it appreciable, is it this, that, or the other, whatever. With what they do, to me, is an effort towards delivering a real premier wrestling experience. And that's the reason why they offer VIP experiences. That's the reason why they have things laid out the way they do in terms of, fans who've paid more money getting in 2 hours in advance so they can enjoy the ringside experience, so they can enjoy the meet and greet experience because they paid more money to. That's what it all is all about. They're customers, and PWX is showing appreciation to their customers by virtue of catering to them in a way that gives them that premier wrestling experience. It is what's in a name, folks, and that's the end of the line as far as I'm concerned. As far as what they're doing with events like this, is it affordable for everybody? Unfortunately, no. I will say that that's one of the things that does hurt promotions who try and deliver experiences like this, because Lord knows, average Joe who's got 4 kids could probably not buy 4 front row seats to something like this. But they can, I'd say, maybe go for some of the general admission tickets. So it is what it is. and we will have to see how well this thing sells and how well it does, because if you look at the ticketing options online, there's still a lot of tickets available. If what they're presenting online as far as the reserve tickets are available out there, if it's genuine, there's still a lot of tickets available. So we'll have to see how the business does. We'll have to see how this whole thing shakes out. Is it going to be a major success? Is it going to be a flop? We'll have to see here as things unfold with PWX and the card they are calling Legend. So that's going to do it for our talk about that event there. We'll talk about it some more definitely in probably an upcoming episode of this show here, or maybe one of our other programs. Definitely we'll have results and highlights over on the Carolinas Professional Wrestling Awards Facebook group page there as well. So if you want to catch all of that, go over there and find it. There will be a link to that area of Facebook in the description of this video. Folks, we'll be back here after another musical break. Please continue to join us here on the Rasslin with Redbeard YouTube channel for the Weekly Trim. folks, welcome back. Thank you for continuing to hang out with me here on the program. We appreciate your continued patronage of the Rasslin Redbeard YouTube channel, and thank you for listening to this program on the channel here. Appreciate you tuning in to the Weekly Trim. If you have not already, please do consider subscribing to the channel. We always appreciate having new visitors to our work here on our little space within the interwebs, and really appreciate you spending time with us and listening to what my brain has to say, as well as whatever else might be suiting your fancy here on the channel. Of course, we've got wrestling matches, our old weekly show we used to do here where it was the midweek update, those are still floating around out there. We're hoping to do some more Rasslin Redbeard main shows. I keep saying that and just haven't done it yet, but maybe before long we'll get back into doing that. But the point is, we got a whole lot of variety on the channel here, a lot of opportunities for you to dig in and to see some cool stuff, whether you're interested in, like we mentioned, match videos, vlogs, blogs, whatever this show would be considered, podcast, yeah, sure, whatever. It's all, one way or shape or form here on the old Rasslin with Redbeard YouTube channel. So thank you for tuning in and being a part of all this nonsense with us. We talked a little bit of controversy in the last segment there about some things going on with PWX, and I want to talk about a little bit more controversy, this time with some recent movie news. And, we're all about various forms of entertainment on the show here. We like to talk wrestling primarily, but I'm a big movie nut. I love movies and TV and pretty much anything that you can put me in front of as far as media is concerned. We're talking about, and again, I'm an 80s baby. I grew up in the legacy of the 80s. Wouldn't have had it any other way personally. And, of course, lots of Disney animated films were part of my childhood coming up. We've got here in the next couple of weeks the release coming up of Disney's live-action version, which is kind of a misnomer because it's live-action, quote-unquote, but it's still a lot of computer-generated imagery, which is animation. It's just done differently than traditional forms of animation. But there's the live-action, quote-unquote, version of The Lion King coming out here. And we've got now news of their being on the cusp of producing a live-action Little Mermaid movie. And this shouldn't be a surprise to anyone because they've gotten now to where the technology, to where the rubber can meet the road, so to speak, in terms of movie-making technology, being able to create these experiences that don't require ink and paper anymore. They can be done using filmmaking techniques, and you can put a person out there that happens to look a lot like Ariel. And that's where the controversy comes in, is that the person that Disney has cast as Ariel for the live action version of this film doesn't look like the original version of Ariel. And that's where a lot of people have lost their shit, pardon my French, in terms of reacting to this thing and doing so in a way that is really just plain nuts and insane, in my opinion. The actress that has been cast is a young lady. I believe she's either 18 or 19 years old. Her name is Halle Bailey. And when I first heard her name, I was like, Halle Berry got cast as Ariel? What? Because it sounds almost the same. Halle Berry, Halle Bailey. I think Halle Berry might have even been trending on Twitter at one point in time because people thought that Halle Berry's been cast as Ariel. What in the hell? But her name is Halle Bailey. She's, I believe, from what I read here a little bit ago, she's originally from Atlanta, Georgia. Very talented young woman. As I said, 18, 19 years old, somewhere in there. Has an incredible singing voice. So clearly she has the chops to be able to get in there and do the vocal parts that will be a major aspect of this role, which everybody who's seen Little Mermaid, the original version, knows the whole story. She was a talented, an enchanting, you might as well say, singer. And this role obviously is going to require someone who has that level of ability. And it looks as though they've cast someone who has the chops to do specifically that. But the controversy comes in the fact that Halle Bailey is an African American woman. And of course, you have the idea of, oh, well, Little Mermaid was white. Little Mermaid, she had red hair. She had creamy skin. This is the whole thing there. And I have to tread lightly with this whole topic, folks, because there's no. I'm getting flustered even talking about it, but there's no real easy way of saying this. please, just get over the fact that it's not what you had originally, okay? For one, people were saying on Twitter, "Oh well, if she was a mermaid, she would have pale skin because you never see the sun's rays." Oh my God, you're arguing over what a fictional character that depicts a imaginary species would look like. Now, God knows I've argued in the past what things should be in terms of various movies and whatever else there, but really and truly, give the thing a chance. You don't know what the character's going to look like. They said, "Oh, she doesn't have red hair. She should have red hair." How do you know what the character's going to have when they produce the damn movie? They could have her with red highlights in her hair. They could have her to where she has red hair for all we know. And you don't even know what the thing's going to look like. She just got cast, for crying out loud. The character designs are way off. They'll probably have them out here in the next 8, 10, 12 months, and you'll be able to see what this young woman looks like when she's made the transformation into Ariel. But don't base it off the fact that she looks how she does in her everyday life off of what the character might look like. But even so, don't make a big deal over what the character looks like, period. Because here again, should it be about what the character looks like, or should it be about what the performance that the actress involved with the role actually delivers? It just frustrates the hell out of me because stuff like this, people make such a big deal out of it. And is it worth making a big deal out of? Is it worth getting into arguments over? No. Because guess what? It's entertainment. You don't have to go to the movies and watch this thing. If you don't like it, guess what? Stay home and watch, tennis or whatever the hell boring shit you're into. And I know I'm cursing a lot here on this episode, but it frustrates me. Because this young woman, really and truly, I don't know a whole lot about her. I will confess to that. This is going to be potentially the role of a lifetime for her. So the fact that she has this opportunity to be involved in a major production, and the immediate response to it is, "Well, we don't like you. You're not our Ariel." That was the hashtag, "not my Ariel." Go screw yourself. Really and truly. If that is your response to a person who is obviously talented being put into a role where she can express those talents, then just go screw yourself. Go jump off a cliff. You are not a useful individual. And I hate to have that mentality, but really and truly, we're to a point to where people are no longer willing to give someone an opportunity to express themselves and to just try. You don't know what it's going to be. Give it a shot. If the movie sucks, if she lays an egg or whatever when the whole movie comes out, it's not good, whatever. At that point in time, it is what it is. She tried. Maybe she could continue just singing. Maybe she's not a good actress. Whatever. But we won't know until the movie's done. And I, for one, think it's going to be a cool movie. I think that they're going to do this right because they've continued to have successful turn-ins with these live-action movies. And I think this is going to be more of the same here because Beauty and the Beast was quite good. Aladdin was quite good. The the whole series here with these movies has been really just amazing in terms of the fact that they've been able to do what they can with filmmaking technology anymore. But I'm looking forward to seeing what goes on with this movie. I really am looking forward to seeing what she does with it. I think that the character designs are going to be unique and cool because you got the other stuff that could be included here as far as Sebastian and Flounder and all of our other cohorts there. One of the things that I thought was interesting because we talked about the casting of this young woman, and nowadays people, when it comes to Disney, by virtue of them owning as many properties as they do, with them owning Marvel and Lucasfilm and all this other stuff, somebody on Twitter I saw brought up a very interesting theory. Now, if you watch Black Panther, you of course are familiar with a little story that Killmonger relays in there about how slaves, as they were passing across the ocean and going through the Middle Passage, that some of them chose to jump over the side of the ships as opposed to going all the way to servitude there in the New World and whatnot. They were essentially deciding to honorably kill themselves as opposed to be slaves. Somebody brought up the idea that what if some of these slaves that jumped overboard, what if maybe they were in some way saved by some of these mermaids and mer people, whatever you want to call them there? What if they, in some way, shape, or form, integrated into the culture of the mer people. And I know we're getting off base here and talking about plausibilities and this, that, and the other, and the fact that you're merging a Disney property, which is based off of a Hans Christian Andersen piece of work from, I think, the 1800s, with the combination of it, into a Marvel storyline there. But that's just one of the cool things that you could think about in terms of, well, how could you, I hate to say plausibly say that she has darker skin, but it's one of those things where there is a opportunity to, again, include more opportunities with the combined creativity that exists between this brand that is Disney now and saying, hey, we could put some Marvel stuff in here if we wanted to, or we could put some Disney stuff in Marvel if we wanted to, vice versa. So it's just very interesting to me from that angle there. And again, I'm looking forward to the movie. I'm very much looking forward to seeing what she does with the role. And again, I think if you're one of these people who has said, this is not my Ariel, then again, just pound say it. Just get out. Go away. The one piece of controversy with this movie that I will kind of buy into is the casting of Ursula. I think the going trend here, and I'm not sure if she's officially been cast, but the trending name for being cast of this show, or this movie, what am I saying, seemed to be pointed towards Melissa McCarthy being cast as Ursula. Now, we were talking about, Halle Bailey not necessarily looking like the original version of Ariel. Well, Melissa McCarthy would seem to be one of those people that got cast because of maybe some physical resemblance to Ursula. But again, here we're talking about the possibility of someone who, or at least in this case, a character that's going to be probably 100% CGI. It's very unlikely that there'll be much in the way of her actual face or whatever being included in this thing here. But you never know. Again, we don't know what the character designs are going to be. But we're talking about, again, another character that needs to have a tremendous vocal range almost more than anything. So the idea started getting floated around. Well, Melissa McCarthy would probably be fine, but what if you put somebody like Lady Gaga in that role? And when I heard that, I was like, holy cow, that would be amazing. Because we already know Gaga has acting ability. We already know she can, turn in a great performance as far as that's concerned. And we clearly know she's an amazing singer. So if you combine the two of those with a role like Ursula, and again, we're talking about the original version of this movie versus the updated stuff. If you look at some of the images of Ursula after she metamorphosed into a human form, and some of the pictures that are out there of Lady Gaga when she has her hair dyed black, it's almost a splitting image in terms of how she looks there. So, that's a great opportunity to me. I think they probably should explore that option if she's interested. She may not even be interested in doing the role, but it definitely seemed to me like a cool idea that got floated around out there to have her be Ursula in this picture. So we'll have to see how the whole thing goes. And again, very interested in seeing what becomes of this and other live action properties when it comes to the whole thing there with Disney as they move forward in turning our beloved childhood on its side with these live action movies. No, I'm just kidding. I really and truly, I appreciate what they're doing because it's going to be cool. It's going to be neat. It's going to be something else. So just sit back, relax, enjoy something cold to drink, and wait for these cool movies to come down the pipe here. Because Lord knows we got plenty of good ones coming out left with this summer here. Haven't seen the new Spider-Man yet. Looking forward to that. But we got a couple other ones I'm looking forward to here as well this summer. So, Little Mermaid coming soon to a theater near you. If you don't like the casting, just give it a shot. Please don't be an asshole when it comes to this kind of thing. Give the young girl an opportunity. And let's see some good stuff at the movies. I'll be back in a few moments, folks. Going to take one more break here, and then we're going to come back and round out the program with another edition of What's Redbeard Drinking? We'll be back in a few. Welcome back, folks. Thank you for continuing to hang out with us here on the Weekly Trim program on the Rasslin Redbeard YouTube channel. Appreciate you being a part of what we're doing here on the old channel here and trying to resurrect things as far as our little podcast series goes here. And we're to a point, if you're not familiar with our program, if you've never really joined us before and are watching, listening, whatever the case may be, to the show, we like to do what's called What's Redbeard Drinking to round out this program. I am not an alcoholic. I would like to think of the fact that I just enjoy sampling new things as they come onto the marketplace. A lot of these are various beers, malt beverages, just stuff that I happen to see by virtue of my patronage of our local purveyor of alcoholic beverages, which is here in St. Matthews, South Carolina, my base of operations, the local BP station. Yeah, so I have to base my availability a lot of the time on what they've got in their store and in their stock. And I'll be honest, there's not a whole lot of new stuff out at this point in time. There is, however, something that that caught our attention as I was in there earlier in the week, and I said, well, I guess we need to give that a shot because this was a new product, something that's been brought out for the summertime especially, and it is Bud Light Lemon Tea. Yes, Bud Light Lemon Tea. We've, I think, reviewed the other Bud Light varieties that have been flavored here on the show in the past. Did not particularly care for Bud Light Orange. It was a little bit weird. Very much a sweet beverage in terms of the citrus taking over the beer flavor there. I really did enjoy the Bud Light Lime, though. Bud Light Lime, I'm not a Bud Light drinker per se, but an ice-cold Bud Light Lime is one of the more refreshing beers I think you could find. It's a domestic. There's not a whole lot of additional flavor and whatnot going on there, but in terms of a refreshing beverage, that was a great thing that they concocted there with the Bud Light Lime. This here, though, as we mentioned, a brand new entry into the Bud Light line of offerings that Anheuser-Busch has concocted. This measures in at 4.2 ABV, so not a particularly high gravity option. This is a pint serving that I've got here in this can, so might do you okay if you're looking to relax on a nice weekend there. But you definitely would need more than one of these, I would say, to get you good and going. Let's go through the description that's on the website here of BudLight.com. This is a kind of a bit involved, I'll say, description here, especially for something that's seemingly as innocuous as Bud Light. The brewing process. Introducing Bud Light Lemon Tea, a unique twist on America's favorite light lager. It's brewed on real lemon peels, then aged on real tea leaves for a refreshing lemon tea taste in every sip. Available for a limited time only, so get it while you can. And on the can here it says lager brewed with real lemon peels and aged on tea leaves with natural flavors. I have no idea what this is going to taste like. I'm assuming this is going to be mostly beer, but it's not sweet tea. It's not lemonade. I really don't know what this is going to be. So we're going to give this a shot. We're going to give it the college try here and see what this thing is like. And just give it the measure that we always do to beverages that we encounter here on the program. So let's go and pop the top and get this thing underway. All right. Now, immediately whenever I opened that, I had it up here close to the microphone, so I got a little bit of a whiff of this, and immediately the tea is present. It's very much if you know what tea smells like, if you've ever brewed tea at home, that was the initial aroma that came from this can. And then I'm starting to also get some notes of the citrus and also of the scent of Bud Light there as well, because a lager of this nature does have a very unmistakable aroma in terms of what your nose picks up when you get in there and you start to get in the barley and the hops and all that various things that go into brewing something like this. I'm going to give this a pour, but I'm looking again in the can and it looks to have kind of a tea kind of color to it, but we'll give it another hit here with the nose before we pour it out. It's a very pleasant aroma, I will say. The combination of aromas here is very, very pleasing. This is going in some good directions here. I'll say at least initially, anyway. The aroma is very pleasant, as we mentioned. I'm having grown up in the South. I'm of course very well exposed to tea because sweet tea is one of our mainstays in terms of beverages that we have around here. Um, but this is I'm going to say this is going in the right direction here. I'm going to give it a pour and see what the color on this is. So here we go. Oh, it's still very much that kind of pale lager color that you would get from a Bud Light. Yeah, that's surprising. I was expecting it to have been more of a tea color there, but it's not. This has definitely still got the color of a traditional beer. It's a little bit darker than normal Bud Light, but not to the degree of like a red by any stretch of the imagination there. Um, this no, it looks good. So it's not been too heavily influenced, I wouldn't say, as far as the tea is concerned. Let's see if it's changed as far as the aroma is concerned now that we've had a chance to pour some of this. Definitely still getting a lot of the tea. So they definitely have not undersold or understated the presence of the tea in this. So let's go ahead and give it a taste here and see how this goes. Wow. Wow. Huh. That is interesting. I don't know that I like that. Oh man. No, well, the thing with Bud Light, and it's always I shouldn't say controversy, but it's always a criticism that things like Bud Light are very watery to begin with, and that the reason why they take to being blended with other flavors like this is the fact that they don't have much body to begin with. And that's kind of what's happened here, I believe, because this this does not taste like beer. This does not taste like a Bud Light. The prevailing taste, again, is tea. And this does taste like sort of a not an Arnold Palmer because there's no sugar here in terms of this being like a lemonade combination with a brewed tea, but it definitely does not taste like Bud Light. Let's give this another hit here and see how this might continue to evolve across our palate. That is very interesting. What's really, it's deceiving to my palate because when I opened this and when I saw the product, I was thinking, okay, well, this is going to be beer that tastes as though it's been flavored by tea and whatnot. This is definitely more of their take on a twisted tea type product. This does not taste like alcohol. Well, excuse me. This does not taste like beer. This tastes like a very subdued, I would say, almost carbonated tea that has lemon present there. The lemon is not very prevailing, but it is mostly tea. This is really something different here, and you could not tell me that this had alcohol in it. Really and truly, there's not. Again, we mentioned in the opening, this is only 4.2 ABV in terms of the alcohol percentage to begin with, but this really does not taste much like alcohol at all. This would be a very easy drinking beverage if you were, out on the lake or out somewhere, enjoying a weekend with your friends or what have you. I'm gonna give it one more taste here because I'm still a little mystified by this thing. I will say this: it's not bad. It really is not bad. It's to me, it's not good either because in my mind, I was expecting beer, and that's not what I've got. This is not a beer. This is definitely a twisted tea type product. And if you're into those sort of things, you probably will enjoy this because it is obviously a very easy drinking, a very light beverage, which is again mostly the flavor profile here is mostly the tea. This is not bad. It's not to me. It's not that good, but it's definitely easy drinking. Would definitely be something that could be viewed as refreshing if you were to, take this in on a warm summer afternoon or whatnot. But this is not for me. I'm going to go ahead and say this is not quite up my alley in terms of a beverage that I would pursue later on. That said, I hate to give it a low grade because of the fact that it's not something that I personally would reach for again, because Lord knows plenty of other people might see this as being a really tasty beverage. I'm going to go middle of the road and just say it's a 5 in terms of a 1 to 10 scale. It's not bad. It's not good. It's just kind of there. Um, Again, maybe I was thinking more of a beer because it is Bud Light, but again, the name is Bud Light Light Lemon Tea, so it kind of is what it is. But there you go. There's our tasting of Bud Light Lemon Tea, available now in your local purveyor of adult beverages. Wow, this is interesting here. I got this whole thing. I guess I'm going to have to do something with it because I didn't drink that much of it during our taste sample there. Oh well, it is what it is. Folks, appreciate you joining us here on the Weekly Trim on the Rasslin with Redbeard YouTube channel. As we said before, if you have not already, please do consider subscribing to us. We appreciate you being a part of the show. Always love to hear you from you in terms of comments, likes, dislikes, whatever you got going for us. Let us know in the comments section, and we will see you down the road.